Imagine being lost at sea for over a year. No food, no fresh water, no help. Most people would die after just a few days. But one man, José Salvador Alvarenga, survived 439 days in the open ocean. How did he do it? This is his incredible survival story.
Is the modern day, right now story of a man who says he's been lost at sea for over a year.
Is it a real-life version of Castaway? That's what the world is trying to figure out after a man claims he spent more than a year adrift in the Pacific Ocean.
I would expect somebody to be in worse shape. If what he is saying is true, he's one of the best survivalists around.
On November 17th, 2012, José Salvador Alvarenga set off from a small Mexican town for what should have been a simple 2-day fishing trip. With him was Ezequiel Cordoba, a young fisherman learning the ropes. Together they planned to catch fish and return home in just 48 hours. They sailed out with plenty of food, fuel, and equipment. Everything was going to plan. But then, out of nowhere, disaster struck. A sudden storm hit with full force. Winds blew at 60 miles per hour, and the waves were huge, like walls of water. They fought the storm, trying to stay afloat, but their small boat was no match for the storm's fury. They tried to call for help, but the radio went silent. The engine died, and they were being pushed farther and farther from land. Their 2-day fishing trip had just turned into a fight for survival. For the first few days, they survived on the food and water they had brought with them. But as the days turned into weeks, their supplies ran out. Alvarenga, an experienced fisherman, started catching fish with his bare hands. They ate whatever they could: fish, birds, even turtles. When it rained, they collected fresh water. But on dry days, they were forced to drink their own urine just to stay alive. Each day, the scorching sun burned their skin. Each night, the freezing cold made it hard to sleep. Their bodies were weakening, but their will to survive stayed strong, but not for long. Ezequiel started losing hope. He refused to eat the raw fish that Alvarenga caught. No matter how much Alvarenga begged him, Cordoba grew weaker each day. After 2 months at sea, Ezequiel Cordoba died, leaving Alvarenga alone. Now, it was just Alvarenga against the ocean. For 6 days, Alvarenga kept Cordoba's body on the boat, but he knew he had to let him go. He gave his friend a burial at sea and continued his fight for survival. To keep his sanity, Alvarenga started talking to himself, imagining conversations with his family and friends. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Over 6,000 miles he drifted, eating raw fish, turtles, birds, and drinking rainwater, anything to stay alive. After 14 months, 439 days at sea, Alvarenga saw something he hadn't seen in over a year: land. It was a small island in the Marshall Islands, thousands of miles away from where he started. When locals found him, they could hardly believe their eyes. He was sunburned, weak, and dehydrated, but alive. They took him in, fed him, and gave him the help he desperately needed. Doctors were amazed. How did he survive 439 days alone at sea? Was it his experience as a fisherman? Was it pure luck? Or was it something more? Alvarenga says it was his promise to his family that kept him going, the hope that one day he would see them again. His incredible story became a symbol of hope and survival, inspiring millions around the world. 439 days at sea. One man, one incredible story of survival. Could you survive like Alvarenga? What would you do if you were stranded at sea for over a year? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more unbelievable survival stories.